Minister of Higher Education and Training, Honorable Minister Naledi Pandor, our former colleague and now MEC for Health in the Western Cape, Government Honorable Minister Noma French Mbambo, Rector and Vice Chancellor Tyrone Pretorius, DVCs and colleagues from senior management, honored guests from our neighboring universities and past academics at this institution, colleagues and students from UWC. It is a great honor for me to wish you good morning. We are here today to present the opening of our new Faculty of Community and Health Sciences building here in Bellville. As you will see in your program, we have various speakers. We will also have an overview of the departments that will be housed in this building and the unveiling of the plaque. Once this is done, we will have a tour of the facilities. So we have a whole program for you this morning. But colleagues, the minister's time is very limited, so we will be sticking to time and we ask you just to work with us. Before I hand over to the Rector and Vice Chancellor to do the welcome, I just want to let everybody know, on the right, my right, your left, is the exit and the fire escape. Next to the storage space are the toilets, so for all of us to know where to go in case of an emergency. But Mr. Regal has assured me that no emergencies will occur today. Today is our big day. So, colleagues, friends, please help me to welcome the Rector and Vice Chancellor, Professor Tyrone Pretorius.
Minister Naledi Pandor, our Minister of Higher Education and Training, Professor Noma French Mbombo, formerly from the Department of Nursing. She would have been relocated here if she was still. My colleagues in the executive management, the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Anthea Roda, the professional teams that worked on the design and the refurbishment of this building, my predecessor, Professor Brian O'Connell. Thank you, Brian, for being here. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the new Faculty of Community and Health Sciences building in the Bellville Central Business District. Today gives us the chance to pay tribute to all of you who have collaborated with making this building a reality. Minister Pandor, today is truly a historical occasion for the University of the Western Cape. This building holds so much symbolism for us at UWC. Our Chair of Council, Ms. Yasmin Forbes, has just walked in, and please join me in also welcoming her. Minister, firstly, in a world of great and rapid changes, we can't stress enough how important it is to provide our students with a quality higher education that's of benefit to our country and to our world. This building is proof of our ongoing commitment to quality teaching and learning, as well as research in the community and health sciences. Here, on the floors above and below us, our students will benefit from sophisticated equipment and learning spaces that will ensure that they have an excellent foundation to serve as health professionals. Secondly, Minister, this facility speaks to our intent to expand our geographical footprint beyond our main campus. Those of you familiar with UWC's history will know our origins. As a university college opened in 1960, we were meant to only serve one ethnic group in line with the apartheid ideology of separate development. That was the apartheid government's grand vision for us. We were dumped in an industrial complex surrounded by bush, and that's where the name Bush College comes from. You will also know that successive leaders at UWC and the UWC community rejected this notion of an institution for a particular ethnic group, and we opened our doors to everyone, particularly those who could otherwise not have been able to afford a university education. Being an apartheid creation meant being restricted to the Cape Flats. Our students have and continue to travel long distances to campus, and there is very little in the way of recreational facilities in the community surrounding UWC. This building, Minister, thus represents a geographical and a symbolic break from the past. Through the Community and Health Sciences building, we have entered a new chapter in UWC's life. Thirdly, Minister, the CHS building in Bellville goes beyond expanding our geographical footprint and developing into a multi-site university. The choice of this site is by no means incidental. In fact, it speaks to our strategic vision of being an active and a connected institution in this region of the city of Cape Town. There are many plans afoot to revitalize Bellville's inner city into a vibrant, safe, and economically active urban node. We aim to be part of that and hope to contribute extensively to the revitalization of the CBD while connecting with surrounding communities. The impact of universities on the economic development of regions are well documented. The economic benefits of us being located in Bellville are not insignificant either. Besides the administrative, the teaching, and the research staff, we envisage an annual turnover of around 1,600 undergraduates and 250 postgraduate students. These numbers will help stimulate economic activity as well as a demand for better amenities and safer pedestrian routes. MSc Noma French, you could convey this to your colleagues in the city, but we do want to believe that this significant new transport demand could signal to the city the importance of a MyCity bus route that would service 3 major universities and 1 TVET college operating in this area. This we hope to do incrementally as we work with industry and other stakeholders like the Greater Tygerberg Partnership. As an anchor institution in this region, we plan to establish a community health center that will complement existing initiatives such as the dental and the law services that we offer to communities. The CHS Community Health Center will follow this model and give further life to one of our historical roles of a university being in service to its community. I would like to thank the following people. A more formal list of thank yous will follow at the end, but for now I'd like to congratulate and to thank the UWC team under the leadership of Amani Regal and Larry Pokpas, who gave content to this vision. I'd like to thank my predecessor for his inspirational leadership. This project might have materialized and come to fruition during my term of office, but the conceptualization, the dream, and the vision is thanks to Professor O'Connell's inspirational leadership, and we thank you. And finally, we wish to thank Minister, the Department of Higher Education and Training, for your continued support over various funding cycles, as this project was very complex and very ambitious. Here I'd like to mention especially your officials like Dr. Dai Parker, Ms. Brenda Swart, and Mr. Donald Kubai. We are immensely grateful, colleagues, friends, that you could join us all for this special event. We look forward to showing you some of the work that's happening and will be happening in this very impressive state-of-the-art facility. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pretorius. Colleagues and friends, it now gives me a great honor to introduce the MSc of Health, Minister Mbambo. She is an alumnus. Where are you coming to? I was your boss before, remember? Give me a chance. I need to tell you a little bit about her. She is an alumnus of the University of the Western Cape, graduating with her PhD from this institution in 2004. Even prior to her current position of MEC of Health, Minister Mbombo served on a number of ministerial task teams. Among others, she was appointed chairperson of the Society of Midwives of South Africa, and in that role, she advised the National Department on Maternal Health Matters. Why am I telling you that? Because like the rector said, she was from our School of Nursing, and she engaged with us in acquiring this facility many years ago. I'm sure she remembers. And we are glad that you are here this morning to embark with us on this new journey. And Minister Mbombo, as the rector has said, we want to make an impact in this community where this building is located, and therefore your role and continued support will be appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Honourable Minister Mbombo.
Minister Pandor, the Rector, Professor Tyrone Pretorius, the former Rector, former boss, Professor Brian O'Connor, my colleagues, all that are here, not only from the health sciences, but also because I see a lot of people whom others where we serve together at the Senate, at the Council, and so forth. Yes, indeed, I am the built-in cupboard. UWC, I think I spent my 15 years here, and then the 2 years I was on sabbatical before I joined the politics. And for me, it's about, I also just want to share to people in terms of when we started, because Jose mentioned that I was a midwife. So you have to share some of the times when there was a conception of this idea. Of course, I will be biased because I was speaking more from the nursing side. I must also just indicate that at the time, the way we were fighting with physiotherapy, with occupational therapy, with all others in the health sciences, because we claimed that this is our space. Probably Professor O'Connor probably will even maybe share if he will have a platform where he has to make it a point that to pull us apart because we're fighting. But I think, Prof, because you have mentioned these people that you wanted to recognize, you mustn't forget the people who played a role who are not with us anymore. Professor Ratimpov, who was in the physio at the time and then became the dean, played a major role. Professor Ingrid Miller, who was also from the sports recreation, then became the registrar, played the role. The support staff in the faculty, or Charmaine, who are here no more. Those are the people who played the role. And then those who are still alive, like Tembi Kanyele, who was the director of the school then, because at the time I was the deputy director of the school. They played a role. It started actually, Minister, when we, Minister Kare Asmal, introduced that there should be realignment of the health science, specifically nursing in the Western Cape, up to where now UWC has to increase its number. So we moved from around 40 to 300. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, about 300. But we are fulfilling the promises where we said, use Stellenbosch, UCT, they've got the medical schools. So we need to position UWC for public health. My colleagues here probably also must acknowledge also Professor David Sanders from the School of Public Health. Public health, nursing, and also all the other alliances. If you recall, the nightmare, we're busy with a multilateral agreement. And coincidental, I'm still dealing with that now, but from the other side. So when now we started, it was about how we're going to deal with this, and then we wanted to showcase that we can do it. But I think the most important thing, where it actually talks about the UWC, you know that we feeling? We know we used to normally brag and say that at UWC, you are a big fish in a small pond. So in other universities, you become a small fish in a big pond where you become forgotten. So what we did at the time, it was about the whole collaboration, everyone working together, whether you are from natural sciences, you are everywhere, because the discussions that are not only happening at the faculty level, at the Senate level, even outside, when we ended up having the common, what do you call it, a what is a consortium on health education, higher education in the Western Cape, for example. But we managed for the nursing to be able to have secure through the university, the minister, the clinical grant from the higher education, where we could be able to have skills lab in Tygerberg, in Groote Schuur. And then because now we're growing, we had a large staff numbers where we have to move to the prefabs in the Pierre School of Public Health, some of the buildings in the, medical biology. And then we moved to Senate, because at the time we were in the human ecology building. So that's where we used to do fight, the human ecology downstairs, and then us, and then all of those. So we are all over at the time. But up to the time now when the Atlantic Philanthropy, in addition to some other funds that we used to get when the university tried to create more posts from all over, where we get now the 16 million. So that's when now this forms part of it. Because the reason that actually we're territorial, we wanted this building ourselves, we said that, do you know the effort we put when we're writing this damn proposal? When now they will submit to Atlantic Philanthropy, and then they'll say that, do the corrections, until they say, get it, it's a big idea, go and dream. I recall when the university gave us money to go and dream somewhere. I don't know, there were animals, I think also, I don't know, where we said we're not going to sleep. So we kept on dreaming, and then we finalized the proposal in order to have the building. Now, to cut the story short, now when we finally secured the building, so we used to come in and out with the developers. I'm not sure whether Roger is here. We're part of the developer. Larry probably might also recall, and so forth. We come in and out. This building was a hospital before, but by the time we came here, they were already demolishing. It was so dark. There were no lights. But we could be able to check and find out where you want to have your office. I recall at the time I wanted 7th floor, and then the others wanted 9th floor, like when we will be able to see Table Mountain, something like that, because we were the bosses, mostly. So, and then there was also an idea that we need to have a clinic for the students on the ground floor, because there were some shops on the ground floor where we have this integration and so forth. So to cut the story short, we dreamt about everything that we could do in this building. I think there was also a theater and so forth, where we said that, why can't we keep the theater? And then the others said, they're doing what? I said, no, we don't know, let's just keep it. So, but it came to a point where we realized that actually if we're going towards as a community of health sciences with the integration and so forth, because I recall Fedosa was so obsessed with the community-based education, saying that, no, it must be where at the floor for the students, community members coming from the shopping, from the mall, they must just come in to the clinic. So that's when I said that I want 9th floor there, so that I could be far away. But we came so far. But now, going forward, we won't be able as a government, if we leave behind strengthening the human resource. Health system is formed of many other systems, actually 6 building blocks. The health system, the researchers would agree with me. human resource is part of it. Other building blocks is about leadership and governance, health information systems, financing, and so forth and so forth. But the HR is most important. And within the HR, in the health systems, we have got about 10 other health professionals. But the ones that contribute to such in the rendering of services actually are not the medical doctors, where you'll find that the other universities do with the production, because in most instances, the funding gets skewed and goes to the medical. And then UWC, CPUT, they end up being left behind. Even where we are, we'll find that it becomes easier to lease a building, government building, to UCT, to Stellenbosch. And then when it says it's a UWC, oh, we have to pay so much. I think probably you might be aware, especially the dentists, where I have to fight many battles in the Mitchells Plain for the center and so forth. And then I'll say that there is a need, because the majority of the HR, which is the major contributor, are the nurses, are the physios, are the OTs, are the natural medicine, and so forth. So we're looking forward to work together to strengthen this and not leave behind the natural medicine. I've been to India, so I've learned more about natural medicine, Professor Pathratram. So we are going to integrate you, because they've been on my case, coming to my department, to my office, asking where can we get the space. So we're getting there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Having said about the dark building, I remember being part of the dark building as the former dean of CHS. But I'm proud of this new facility and the fantastic learning and teaching and research spaces that have been created. And now to tell us more about the activities and the departments of this new CH building and what they have achieved, I'd like to call on the Dean, Prof. Anthea Roeder.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to maintain protocol and just add my greetings to my predecessors. Good morning to the honourable ministers, to the executive of the University of the Western Cape, to all my colleagues from other institutions. I'd also like to welcome all our pioneers. It's quite an emotional time for me. I started as a physiotherapy student at UWC, but welcome to everybody. Today we celebrate a significant achievement in the history of the Faculty of Community and Health Sciences at UWC as we embark on the training of health professionals in nursing, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and complementary medicine in a state-of-the-art facility in the Bellville CBD. Included in this building, we also have our interprofessional education unit. The building houses close to, as the VC has mentioned, 2,000 students, both undergraduate and postgraduate. I'd like to at this stage highlight that our faculty now operates on 2 campuses. We operate in the Bellville campus as well as on the main campus on Robert Sobukwe. So we haven't forgotten about our departments such as dietetics and nutrition, sports sciences, social work, psychology, the School of Public Health, with the Interdisciplinary Center for Sports Science and Development, and our Child and Family Studies unit. In this building, we have, the building is quite huge, and they say it's across 3 herbs, as they call it. I thought it's plots. And it houses 12 60 to 80-seater classrooms, 7 seminar rooms, 6 tutorial rooms, a faculty resource center, and a faculty computer laboratory. We have a big gym area. Some of us who used to be part of the gym on the main campus will think, wow. We also have occupational and physiotherapy laboratories where we can do our practical courses. It's important to note that now we have dedicated spaces for theory and practice. In the past, we had to use both spaces for theory and practice as well. So as we're not going to be touring the full facility, I'm now going to ask that we view the video, a short video just on the facilities that is available in the building. Mr. Wow. It surely is amazing. Hamilton, don't you want to come back? An important feature of our building are the simulation areas where authentic learning can take place, providing opportunities for our students to experience specific environments before accessing the clinical platform. We also have dedicated theory and practical spaces, as I mentioned. The School of Nursing previously had these simulation labs that we now have in the building at Tygerberg and Groote Schuur Hospital, where they needed to travel to these labs. This facility, Honourable Minister, therefore offers us as a faculty opportunities to respond to the university's IOP to appropriately train graduates for the 21st century. We also can respond to the ASAF report, which recommends how we respond and train health professionals for the 21st century. It allows us to engage with aspects related to the fourth industrial revolution and in artificial intelligence. Organizations or institutions such as our Health Professions Council, SANC, and the Allied Health Professions Council often reported on us not having sufficient and appropriate spaces to train our students. We now have those in place. I would like to highlight that even in our previous humble abodes, many of us in prefab buildings, we were able to graduate a number of champions, individuals who hold key positions in various institutions and organizations, and we have those individuals amongst us. And so if we could do so much with less, can you imagine what we can now do as we are housed in this fantastic facility? So all I can say is #watch this space.
Thank you, Professor Rhoda. It is now my great honor and pleasure to introduce the one person in the room who needs no introduction, Minister Pandor. As someone who has a deep knowledge of and experience in academic development and support, you will have a deep sense of appreciation for what this building means to us at UWC. As our Minister of Higher Education and Training, we want to ensure you of our commitment to promoting quality learning and teaching, research, and community engagement at UWC generally, but more so through the Faculty of Community and Health Sciences in particular. We are deeply appreciative that you have been able to attend this official opening today, and I invite you now to deliver the main address. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming sir.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Allow me to associate myself with the list of distinguished guests that has been referred to by speakers who spoke before me. I will just limit my acknowledgement to Minister Mbobo, Vice Chancellor Professor Pretorius, former Vice Chancellor Professor O'Connell, Professor Barthram, and other distinguished guests. And of course, I must refer to the Council Chairperson, who is the most important person in the room at present, Ms. Forbes. I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to be with you today, to be part of opening this wonderful Faculty of Community and Health Sciences building, right here in Belleville's Central Business District. As I sat listening to everyone speaking this morning, I thought, I think I've been in this game rather too long. Because driving down Voortrekker Road, I remembered the mornings I used to drive myself here as the Executive Director of the Desmond Tutu Educational Trust. It was many years of really fantastic work with all the tertiary institutions in the Western Cape. And I think having done that, and then being Minister of Education, and receiving a letter from Brian O'Connell about Atlantic philanthropy, and the amazingly large amount of money he needed for his big infrastructure dreams, and us being in a position at that time, through wonderful support from the Minister of Finance, Trevor Manuel, to be able to accede to the request from Brian O'Connell. And I must say, it was the first of the tertiary institutions which began to give life to the infrastructure efficiency grant. And funnily enough, right here, the person who brought the memo to me, my then DDG, Nasima Bacha. I think I've been around too long. So really, really pleased to be here. We, as government, contributed, I'm told, around 124,280,000 towards the cost of this community and health sciences building. The building cost a total of 244,622,000 and is equipped with offices, meeting rooms, laboratories, as you've been told, tutorial facilities, and various simulation laboratories for support to 4 departments that have been outlined to you. The Vice-Chancellor was just complaining that the simulation dolls don't have enough color in them. So I said to them, well, a bigger problem is the simulation patients all look dead. So I'm told that this building was in a dire condition when the university's leadership decided that it should become one of its first initiatives in developing a multi-site campus. From what I understand, there were a wide range of occupants here. I understand the university has displaced a church, has displaced a marketplace, has displaced restaurants, and some living accommodation. There's been a lot of disruption and movement from here. But I think this is the kind of transformation which must happen when you tackle projects with strategy and determination. And I congratulate the leadership of the university and all the staff involved for their very, very strategic, forward-looking vision. I've had the opportunity to be associated with this university for many, many years in many different roles. Of course, as I said, as Executive Director of the Desmond Tutu Education Trust. That was even before I became an MP, before we voted, so many, many years ago. Then as Minister of Science and Technology, Minister of Education, and now as Minister of Higher Education and Training. And of course, the first time I attended a very tough public meeting in South Africa when I came back home was right here in Bellville, where we had a meeting of the Academic Development Association of Southern Africa. And it was the year in which that tricameral parliament was coming into life. So we'd kind of sneaked in. And the first item of discussion, which was led by Archbishop Tutu in our meeting, and Franklin Sonn, was, do the people in this room vote in the next few weeks or not? What do we do? And after much hot deliberation, and we from outside were watching with great interest, the decision was we don't participate. So it was great to be in Bellville at that time. And in all, I think the roles that I've had the privilege to play, I've been witness to the determination of this university to outgrow and shed its apartheid roots. And it's been a wonderful thing to observe. As you all know, the first students who enrolled at the University College, as it was known in 1961, would almost certainly, watching us today, be in awe of what has been achieved. Moreover, the apartheid architects who dreamt up a university for colored people only and stuck it on the Cape Flats could never have imagined your spirit and resilience. When I look around me, I see a young and ebullient university that is flourishing through strategic expansion and outgrowing very firmly and in a determined fashion its apartheid footprint. Through very prescient investments over the years, this university is transforming itself into, I think, a leading-edge multi-campus institution. In my view, this university offers lessons for our universities, and one of those lessons is that you don't have to let your past determine your future. There's no way that you just keep yourself in the past. It's showing that with capable leadership and the right support, all universities can play a vital and significant role in providing higher education to generations of young people. It makes me recall the closing speech by Professor Bani Pichana at our Transformation Colloquium just a week ago, where he urged all of us to start embracing our freedom. He expressed the view that he feels sometimes we are engaging with our freedom in somewhat of a contrary fashion, as though we are not believing that we are free, and that the time has come for us to accept that we actually are the ones who determine the fate of our country, and we should own what we have to do and stop believing that someone else can do something for us. So I see this university owning its fate and really being determined to set out on a positive path. I'm sure wherever he is, Dr. Hendrik Verwoerd must be turning in his grave as he sees the state-of-the-art faculty where future nurses and other health professionals will be trained. I hope that many of the 1,600 undergraduate and 250 postgraduate students who will be taught here each year will see the benefit of entering into a career in the public health sector. So it's in this context that I'm really pleased to see the university's campus expansion, beginning with the Faculty of Health and Community Sciences, and with 4 departments located here. This is because I believe it is in inner cities like the Belleville CBD where people work and where there is access to major transport routes that we need to invest in resources and facilities. I had occasion last year to visit Manchester University, and as we were walking, looking for the main building, I was just thinking, are these people mad? How do you have a university right in the middle of town? Where's the university here? And when I got to the precinct, I understood. Because it's a full university precinct, very firmly modeled into the city center. And this is what I think this multi-campus idea can become. So I think, Minister Mbobo, you were right. You don't have to get rid of the theater. At Manchester University, they've got the theater down. They have an art gallery. They have faculties upstairs. So it's actually incredible the kind of university precinct that you can develop once you integrate the city into the academy. And I think this is the beginnings of what we hope to see. I hope that all the stakeholders involved won't rest on their laurels with this building, and that what they will do is ensure that the project gets full attention and that it actually develops into the kind of bigger notion I observed in Manchester. Because we have this important duty of ensuring we reach as many of our people as is possible, irrespective of their economic status, of their race, their gender, or class. Our national project of building a better South Africa is about reaching out to everyone and getting to them. And having this notion come into concrete life is part of giving effect to that national vision. In this regard, I think a UWC community health faculty, which serves a broad sector of society, is definitely a welcome addition to the university's other community services, such as the dental facilities at Tygerberg Hospital and in Mitchell's Plain. This building will act as an important stimulator of the economy and the regeneration of this inner city. Part of what we, perhaps as politicians, need to do is to start to have a conversation with the broader community so that they understand the value that a university brings to a community. We would like to have the broader community treat this precinct and other buildings we will add as special places of value for our communities. So we must talk to the taxi community not to drive dangerously around here, to be alert to young people. We must talk to those who are traders not to trade around here and leave a lot of dirt, but to respect this space. But it takes political engagement to achieve that level of community support. And it's something I think we shouldn't neglect, because if you look around the world, respect for tertiary institutions and their place in a community fundamentally impacts on the character of a city. And we need to achieve that level of accommodation and understanding of what a university might mean to a central business district. I believe that we are now at a point where the University of the Western Cape can, Vice-Chancellor, comfortably throw off the notion of historically disadvantaged. I think we're now at a point where we must just call ourselves a university and really take our place in the community of institutions. We were discussing yesterday with our president the possibility of us arriving at some form of funding support for our institutions of higher learning that will give them more stability and permanence than they might enjoy at this moment. And he was very, very, sold into the idea of us finding a way of funding our institutions and allowing them to have a set of stable resources that will allow them to then make that giant leap in readiness for the 22nd century. So we're having that conversation, and I really want to see higher education becoming more bold, more confident about its place in development and its place in our society. I'm looking forward to us hearing of continued partnership from the provincial government. The minister has promised it, although she didn't quite say it, but I know she's promised it. And we also hope for support from Mayor Plato and the City of Cape Town, as well as our integration into the greater Tygerberg partnership. We really want them to see that this arrival of UWC is the beginnings of a great change in the CBD. I'd like to then conclude by really acknowledging all the partners who have played a role in executing this very, very important project. And in that regard, I want to echo the thanks expressed by Professor Pretorius. I have a very good team in the university education branch, and they are really committed to the infrastructure efficiency initiatives. I have been amazed that since March, almost every 2 weeks, I'm opening a building on a campus throughout the country. And this shows the commitment of our government to higher education. And these are not mean buildings. These are amazing facilities for the young people of our country. So I believe that higher education is on a significant march, and all of us must ensure that we support it to derive value in producing the critical, strategic human resources that our country needs. I wish all who will work in this building great success, and I look forward to working closely with you to support you in that regard. I hope, Professor Rhoda, that we will have an opportunity soon to meet and discuss this notion of the Minister of Health about universities not training nurses. I'm rather perturbed by it, and I'm still waiting to meet him, but I think because he knows I'm a bit angry, he doesn't want to see me at the moment. But it's something that I'd like the deans and myself to really look at, because I don't quite share the approach that has been articulated in the public domain. So have no fear. you all will be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Pandor, for your inspiring speech. We at UWC commit to partner with the department, the province and the city in continuing to dream big in what we as a higher education institution can achieve in serving our communities. At this point, I want to call on the Minister and the Rector to come do the unveiling of the plaque.
It's like a flag.
You're going to say something there? Are you going to say something?
Minister, this will be placed at the entrance of the building. We didn't want to put it up there because then the logistics of taking everyone outside, but we can assure you our recognition of the opening of the building by yourself will be suitably placed outside.
Colleagues, this is the last task for me. The Dean and her colleagues have arranged a tour of the facilities, but before we do so, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for coming here this morning, and I'm sure for braving the chaotic rush hour traffic and seeing how our staff have to deal with the taxis here in the mornings. A special thanks to Minister Pandor for being able to join us, as well as Prof. Mbombo for her presence and kind words this morning. There are many people who have contributed to making this project a success, and the Rector has thanked some of them, but I just want to thank a few that were not mentioned. We want to thank all the companies and the teams who contributed to the successful execution and completion of the CHS building. I would like to thank the following teams. The principal teams was LMC Project Management, GAP Architects, and Urban Designs, and Boschard Construction. The quantity surveyors, Turner and Townsend, the engineering companies, other companies involved, including Frontline Health and Safety, OneCall, Dimension Data. The City of Cape Town has played a valuable role in getting this project off the ground. And then I want to thank some UWC colleagues, to the Dean of CHS, Prof. Anthea Rode, the Faculty Manager, Mark Wood-Simpson, and the Senior Management Team of CHS. Despite the trepidation, the concerns of colleagues, you made this work. It took a great effort, and I'm sure you're still dealing with change management, I know. So we thank you. Nasa Abdullah and Jairaj Ramchanda from Infrastructure and Engineering, Larry Pokpas and his team, and least, not finally, but not the least, this is the most important person, because if we don't thank him, we don't get money to continue. Mr. Mani Regal, thank you very much for your contributions and everything that you have done. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank people like Professor Mpofu, Professor Kanyile, Charmaine Johnson, who contributed in driving this. Rector, if you remember, I'm not sure if you remember, but Prof. O'Connell is here and Prof. Baruthram at Prof. Mpofu's speech when she said she was leaving. She fought the move to Bellville tooth and nail. This was not what she wanted. She felt we needed a CHS building on that campus. But I'm sure that today she's smiling down on us and saying well done for what we have achieved. So colleagues, thank you very much, and we invite you to join us on the tour.